Sun shining on a small town parade, celebrating me coming home today. Told a couple stories for the evening news, shook a few hands, got a few thank yous. Got to hold my baby girl for the very first time. She got her eyes like a mama's and her nose like mine. Feels good to be standing on the southern ground, till the desert finds its way back around. So I fake a smile, put on a front. Can't forget these things I've done. My life was changed for Uncle Sam. This war goes on for who I am. The hell I seen just shakes me now. The business end of that 50 cal in a room full of people. I feel alone, just playing the part of a soldier coming home. I'm not the man I used to be, but this guy in the mirror still looks like me. It's hard to act like things ain't changed, but I'm the leading role in a make-believe game. So I fake a smile, put on a front. Can't forget these things I've done. My life was changed for Uncle Sam. This war goes on, who I am. The hell I see just shakes me now. The business end of that 50 cal in a room full of people. I feel alone, just playing the part of a soldier coming home. Coming home. 'Cause the hell I see just shakes me now. The business end of that 50 cal in a room full of people. I feel alone, just playing the part of a soldier coming home. Still playing the part of a soldier coming home. Sun shining on a small town parade, celebrating me coming home today. Thank you.
Jesse, Jesse, one of the things I love about that is that first verse that starts with what, normally would be really happy occasions, a parade and a celebration, just juxtaposed with the title of that and in the way you're singing it. It's just very powerful.
Thank you.
Hey, Jesse, let me ask you a question. I know I asked you a million of them when we did Songs Some True, and I may have left this one out, but
Yeah.
maybe you can talk a little bit about, before you started to write the song that you just sang for us,
Mm.
what was happening in your life? And maybe you can kind of tell us how you started to pull things out of thin air and start that creative process.
Yeah. So around that time, so 2017, couple of years before, I had a really bad episode, mental health episode, and it really upended my life. Um, but I started picking up the pieces from that afterward, and met my wife Katie in 2015, and that, or girlfriend then, but now wife. 2015, met her, and things just really started getting better. Just uh, I was honest with her from the get go, like just what I was experiencing and going through, um, and just fast forwarding to 2017, I was working at a nonprofit, just kind of, I don't want to say treading water, but I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be, like, and I saw the Creativets program. And I've been playing music at that point. Let's see, I got back from Iraq 2004, so yeah, good amount of time. Like I've been playing guitar, but I was also almost ready to hang it up. Even like I wasn't sure if it was something I wanted to really continue. Um, the reason I say that is just all the difficult stuff, the life circumstances, and just um, I wasn't inspired anymore. And then Creativets came into the picture, and it was just like this is what songwriting is like. Powerful stuff. Um, so going into that experience just kind of like changed my whole trajectory in a way. Um, like it was a passion. Like music has always been a passion for me, and that to be almost to that point of like shelving it, it it wasn't the best period, but yeah, gradually things just started getting better and better after that experience. Married my wife, now we have a son, brand new home, like all this good stuff. So like yeah, it's pretty incredible to see like 2014 to now, like it's just a world of difference. So
To go back to Jesse, hey man, I know you've been writing with Katie, and when asked the question, is it easier to write is individually by yourself, is it easier for you to have a co-writer or maybe several writers to bounce ideas off of?
for me now, it's definitely working with other co-writers. I love the process. Just kind of if your skills and abilities are here and someone else's are here too, like just kind of complementing each other and bouncing ideas off each other. It's a great process. Like especially with my wife, like we can really just bond over the experience too, depending on what we're talking about. Or um, I love co-writing now, and in Milwaukee, I'm a little isolated, so I need to make it out to Nashville, see Scotty one of these days. To yeah, like, uh, but there are some talented writers here in Milwaukee too, but I need to yeah make it to Nashville more often.
So, Scotty, this is for you, and then Jesse, you could jump in after, but obviously, what you share with Josh and Drew is you're a songwriter. You're maybe farther down the road because you've got some songs under your belt and you've gone through this for a little bit. But if you were to give advice to the younger Scotty Hastings, or if you were to give advice to Josh and Drew about this idea of songwriting, is there anything that jumps to mind?
Oh man. Basically everything that I've realized has helped me. Write all the freaking time. Write however you're feeling. Even if it's just like an idea, you never know what could come from it. Just I have so many like random notes on my in my phone that's just like random title ideas, or just like, oh man, that was a kind of a cool thought. Always writing that stuff down, always thinking about it. Doug Johnson, my mentor, who wrote Three Wooden Crosses and Love Like Crazy and a bunch of other amazing songs that will live forever, has always told me to have a songwriter's brain. Always be looking at stuff and thinking about what would the story of that be. And yeah, and if you ever get an opportunity to co-write with someone, take it. Take every damn co-write you possibly can. One thing that being in Nashville has taught me is that um, you want to write with other people, man. I mean, one person, I mean, yeah, you can come up with a great song by yourself, but man, you put two or three people in there with, with the same objective of writing a great song, and it's going to turn out way better than you could ever do by yourself. So 100% always write with anyone you possibly can. That's another songwriter. But yeah, I think that's really it, man. Just take every opportunity you get. That's how I got where I am.
Jesse?
Yeah, I second everything Scotty said. Like, yeah, work with every writer you can. Um, just think of everyday scenarios. What Scotty was saying. Like, it could be anything from going to get a coffee and you hear this this little phrase here. Write that in your phone. Like this could be a good title. This could be a good title. Um, but if I could give my younger self or you guys advice just starting out, I would say a couple things. Like, first one would be have fun with it. Like you when you're first starting out, yeah, you want to get the fundamentals down, but make sure it's fun. Like that way it it stays long term. Because if you're just working all the time, it might not. I mean, that's a good thing to do. Like write all the time, what Scotty said, but like make sure you're having fun at the same time. What I'd say too would be like a lot of the songs that you hear on the radio now have a common chord structure. So like what we call them at Berkeley was like a power progression. So you can take common chord progressions that a lot of people use and just kind of make them your own. You add a chord there, take away a chord here, play it in your style, but and then obviously make the melody and lyrics your own. But there's these common progressions though that you can build off of um, to really save you a lot of time. I guess is what I'm saying. Because I know when I first started playing, it was just hammering away, and I didn't know the theory. I didn't know anything really. I was just having fun. But to save some time, it helps to learn those power progressions. So, um, yeah,
I like I like how you slipped Berkeley in there, Jesse. You want to expand on that a little bit?
yeah. So I had a cool opportunity recently. So I just graduated from Berkeley Online, so they have a songwriting certificate program there. Um, and it just really accelerated so much of my learning because there's like a wealth of knowledge there, and all the students are there to learn. Um, just yeah, it was an awesome experience. Like I'd say, like what I learned in the year and some change that I was there accelerated my learning probably 5-10 years just by hammering hammering it out, learning the fundamentals. Um, yeah, like that was very helpful. So I would say like if you got the opportunity and the money one day, and then songwriting something you're really considering taking more seriously, I highly recommend Berkeley.
Do you either of you journal, Jesse or Scotty? Do you journal as a way to write?
I do on and off. Yeah, like there, uh, what's it called? Destination writing. Like I'll do that. Like sometimes to get like lyrics for a verse. Just destination writing is like just picking just a destination and just like focusing on a word or using as a jump off point, and this whatever comes out of it. Um, just do it for 5 minutes or so, and yeah, I like to do that.
No, I don't. The short answer. No, I mean I write stuff that like pops in my head into my phone, but especially lately, I haven't had time to sit down and write in a damn journal, unfortunately. With everything that I'm doing right now, I've been so busy. But no, I don't know. So the way that I write doesn't it when I write, I go into a room and I write whatever's in that room. I don't write, thoughts that I had from 2 days ago. More than likely I'm going to forget about them anyhow because TBI is a bitch. And, and, but yeah, so I really, you know, it's I don't really journal. There's like every once in a while, like I'll sit down and like write like a story, like a short story out or something to try to keep my mind, you know, creative. But I don't really journal like my thoughts and stuff like that. Just if I see something, or if a thought comes into my mind that I'm like, man, that's good, or if I think of something, I'm like, man, that's a great title, or I hear it, then I'll put it in my phone. But other than that, not really.
Yeah, and I love Scotty, a title often says a lot, and obviously you have some of those. You got Truck It, so that's a fun one. One of the songs you did play for us was How Do You Choose, and just kind of knowing the lyrics for that, that's a very powerful one for me.
Yeah, that's one that I wrote with Jesse Wayne Taylor at Creativets. We sat down and we wrote that. That song was written within 30 minutes.
No.
That song was fast to be written. But yeah, it's actually going to be so I just recently got signed to a label here in Nashville, and it's going to be my debut single with the label. So, but that stays between this call right now. I'm not allowed to disclose that, but yeah, that's actually going to be my first single with the label. So
Awesome. Congratulations.
November 3rd, November 3rd, be out.
Also on your Facebook page, you got one that is Good Old Dogs and God.
Yes. So Good Old Dogs and God was a little bit of a leap for me. I was talking to my buddy Chris Young yesterday. We were at the Songwriter Hall of Fame gala, and I was talking to him, and we were talking about, he said something about being a recording artist, and I was like, man, what the hell's the difference between a recording artist and a songwriter? And he was like, well, he said a recording artist is someone who records other people's songs and puts them out and puts your voice on other people's words. And I was like, holy shit. Okay. I never even thought of that. And then I started thinking about it more. And that song, Good Old Dogs and God, I didn't write that song. That was my first step into being a recording artist, according to Chris Young. But yeah, I heard that song. I fell in love before the first chorus was even done. I fell in love with it, and I knew that I wanted it. I'm incredibly blessed in the sense that I get pitched songs, which is incredible, something I never thought I'd be able to do. But yeah, I get pitched songs, and that was one that just came across to me, and I was like, man, this song is incredible.
I love the opening guitar work in it.
Yeah, the opening guitar work in it is another artist who's here at Black River, and his name's Pryor Baird. He's incredible. He sings harmonies on all my songs, and that dude can play the hell out of a guitar. I have never seen anyone play the guitar the way that this dude can. And yeah, he's the one that played all the guitar parts in that song.
And it is amazing how powerful just the name of the song is. Like, Jesse, knowing your background as a vet, songs like Rescue Me and Save One Like Mine, I mean, those are just the title itself. How important is the title? How much time do you spend on the title of a song?
Yeah, I think you want it to be right, like the title.
Like a billboard.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't really give like a good estimate because some of them are like just naturally jump out to you, and it's gonna be like the hook line a lot of times. So like, but the title is very important. Like, Rescue Me, it was just natural. I wrote that song with Richard and Brett from Creativets, so yeah, that was a really cool experience too. So, but titles, I like writing from the title a lot too. Like I learned that if you have a title to work with, just kind of getting yourself in that emotion, that space. What Scotty was saying, like write the song in the room. Like if you have a good title, like that can really just open up so much. So
yeah, so this always leads to Beatles stories. I'm a big Beatles fan. Well, never mind. I won't talk to you about John Lennon's song called Number 9. That's a whole
Oh
different.
no. Hey, I do have a question for Scotty. Um, the stories that they tell, right? That's the song that a lot of us know you.
Yeah.
And what my question to you is, there's a lot of very personal and emotional references in that song. And I guess my question would be is how do you whittle that emotion down to just the right choice of words? I mean, for
Um,
me, it's kind of like, God, I got all of these ideas, how I want to approach it. I'm just curious how you kind of whittled things down to be descriptive enough to include in a song just like that.
Yeah, you have to write with the right people. No, that song, I had that song on my heart and in my mind for like 10 years. I knew that I wanted to tell the story, but I had no idea how to do it. And the first time I ever met Doug Johnson, I told him that I had this idea, and it was a title called The Stories That They Tell. And I kind of went into why, like where, like what the reason why we tell the stories that we do. And he was like, yeah, let's write that. But I think a lot of it was we just wanted to tell a story that veterans could understand and could relate to. We wanted, when we sat down and kind of went into it, I mean, that song wrote its, I mean, that song wrote itself. It was like 45 minutes and that song was done. But we sat down and I told him, I was like, I want this song to tell a story. I want it to show the camaraderie between other veterans. You know, something that is incredibly important to us is the fact that we are there for each other. The camaraderie is like the biggest part of what we miss and what we need. And he was like, all right. And then that's why in the song, there's 3 different people who are all veterans and they're from different time frames of their service. You have the first guy that comes in, Bill, he comes in, he's a Vietnam veteran. The next guy was in Afghanistan. And then the bartender was, that's up to your imagination. Wherever he was, whenever he was, that's up to y'all. But I wanted to tell a story. I grew up in the 90s when country music told stories, man. And I think that's why me and Doug click so well, because he's very much a storyteller, and that's what I want to do with my music. I want to tell stories, and I think that's why we write so much and work so well together, because with that song, we just wanted to tell the story. I wanted not only veterans to be able to connect with it, but I wanted civilians to understand that when you hear veterans talking amongst each other and we're telling our war stories, it's therapeutic for us. It's not that we're just here telling all these crazy ass stories. It's because for those brief moments in time, the people that we lost are alive again in our hearts and in our minds, and there's nothing that could ever compare to that feeling, being able to have them alive again. And I wanted the civilian population to understand that we're not just crazy veterans speaking crazy words. Like, there's a reason for this. And I think it's an important song.
Love it. Love that tune, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We just cut a new version of it. So the version that's out there right now is actually going to get taken down, and we're going to replace it with the new version. So
Okay. Looking forward to it.
yeah.
I have a question for you. A lot of times when we work with new guitar players and we give them our 10 lessons, what I like to do with students before we graduate them is I just ask them directly, do you consider yourself a guitar player? And a lot of the students after the 10 hours say no, they don't. And so I ask them, well, what would that look like? What would have to happen where you'd allow yourself to be called a guitar player? And there's a variety of answers they have. Some will say, well, I can't play a song all the way through, or I only know one strumming pattern, and certainly a guitar player knows more than that. So, Scotty and Jesse, at some point, you were not a songwriter. Now you are a songwriter. Do you kind of know, was it a slow thing, or did something happen where you kind of allowed yourself to call yourself a songwriter?
Go ahead, Jess.
Sure, yeah. Um, I think it was pretty early on that I started calling myself a songwriter, even though maybe I wasn't quite ready. Uh, but I think it's where like you get enough knowledge and enough just familiarity with the instrument, and um, just writing what's on your heart. Like, just you're a songwriter at that point. Like, if you're writing and can complete a full song, you're a songwriter.
When you finished the Creativets, did you feel like you were a songwriter after that?
I would say, looking back, I probably wasn't. I was, but I wasn't. Like, it's a process. So like it I was ultimately I was, but I wasn't.
Sounds like you're convincing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a it's a process. Like um just, like you pick up things along the way, you learn how different chords play together and just new ways to make melodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But um I think if you're writing what's true to you, then you're a songwriter.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. It's hard to consider myself a songwriter. Like I said, I'm surrounded by incredible people who have written like hit after hit after hit after hit. And I don't know, it's so hard to consider yourself a songwriter when you're around the pedigree that I am blessed enough to be around on a daily basis. But no, I think that whenever I think there's different facets of songwriting. I think that there is the songwriter who is strictly a songwriter, like a hobby songwriter, someone who just wants to get feelings out, like they just want to get them out. It's strictly for them. They don't care where it's going to go. They just want it out, and they want to be able to, play it for themselves, or just to be able to revisit it. Kind of like those people who just want to lock in a memory, or just want the ability to release something. And then there's the people that I'm lucky enough to know that are professional songwriters that literally write songs for other people, and that's their whole life. And and then there's the singer songwriters who write stuff for themselves and record it and want to get it out and let people hear it. And yeah, so I mean, I think once I really started taking songwriting seriously, that was when I really kind of started considering myself a songwriter. When I really said, okay, for me, I feel like everyone has a different moment when they consider themselves a songwriter. For some people, it's when they wrote that first song, or there's even people who just wrote like a chorus and they're like, hell yeah, I'm a songwriter. Like this is a great chorus. I mean, I think it's open to interpretation for everybody. And for me, it was whenever I really started taking it seriously and really, started trying to write songs. And yeah, yeah.
Do either of you ever get writer's block?
Not really anymore. Like especially if you're co-writing a lot, like you can just bounce ideas off each other. And when you're writing like more regularly, like there's always something you can pull from, like past, but usually, um, yeah, there's usually something you can pull from, something that's on your heart that you want to write about. Um, if it's currently going on, it has happened to you, whatever the case may be. But I haven't had to deal with it now that I've become, like what Scotty was saying, like more different levels to the songwriting. Now that I'm taking it a little more seriously, I haven't encountered it.
I do when I'm writing like solo, sometimes. But the best part about what I get to do is I don't really write solo much anymore, which is fantastic. There's the best part about Nashville is there's a buttload of people out here that have great ideas. So, you just got to get them in a room. But no, I mean, if I'm ever sitting down and I want to write a song by myself, and I kind of get to that level where I'm like, damn, I don't know where to go, I could pick up the phone and call somebody. I'm, again, blessed enough to know people, and people who write great songs, and I can make a phone call and be like, hey man, I got this. And I'll put it on speakerphone and be like, I got this, and I'm freaking stuck. Help me. Like, where do I go? What do I do? And luckily, they're always there to help out.
Hey, I got a question for both Scotty and Jesse, because this came up in my lessons with Drew, and that is, all right. So you got a format in mind. You got a song, like a song format in mind, whether it's country or rock or folk or whatever. You wrote your first song. You wrote your second song. Both of them stuck to a format, and we'll just say country. Now, let's say, for instance, you write the next song and you want to break out of that mindset of a particular format, maybe Americana, or maybe something with a a little rock feel, to country rock feel to it. How do you guys where do you go looking to make that type of a transition from what you're probably known for to something that's completely creative, something that's new, different format perhaps, and maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
I'd say for me, like a new format, I'll often use like a song as like a song in the genre you want to write in as like a jump off point. So like how many lines are in the verse? Is there a pre-chorus? Is it a verse refrain? Like I'll kind of use that structure of a song as like a jump off point, and then try to make something my own in that style. Um, that's one way I approach it, but I don't know if you have
And
any.
you know what? I do remember some of the recordings that you made for Guitars for Vets, and it was an acoustic version of some rock covers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think you did exactly what you said, which is basically you're making this your own. You
Mm-hmm.
take that song and using the acoustic guitar, you changed it up and made it your style, which is a great idea. Cool. What about you, Scotty?
Um, I know what I'm good at. um, and yeah.
Dude,
There's
Truck and Growls, man. That song,
I
Truck, is
appreciate
just
that.
it's
Thank you so
just
much.
wow.
That was a song that when I first got into music, I said I'm never gonna write a damn song about a truck. And it was the first song I freaking released was a damn truck song. Um, but 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 no, I mean, really, it's all about the feel of the song, man. It's really I don't ever go into for me. I know that there's a lot of songwriters, especially here in Nashville, that go into a room knowing what they want to write, what type, what style, what genre, what who it's for. There's people who write songs that already know who it's going to be for, which is wild to me. I met some songwriter who had like crazy amounts of hits last night, and he was like, man, we'll get together and I'll write you some stuff. I'll listen to some of your stuff and I'll write you some stuff that'll be just for you. And I'm like, how the hell does this guy do this, man? I could never do that. Um, for me, again, I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. And um it's hard for me unless I can find a co-writer who has written stuff like that. Like if I'm going in and I want something that's up tempo, I'm going to bring a songwriter in who's really good at tempo stuff. Um, for me, I'm really good at writing like slow, sappy love songs or sad songs. I'm really good at it. Um, but if I want to, bump it up a little bit, I'm going to do my best to try to bring someone in a room that's going to help me get where I want to be.
I think Scotty needs to tell us about that pick and yeah, that.
Yeah,
So yeah, my pick. I have nerve damage in my hand from getting shot, and I can't hold a pick. So I linked up with a company called Strum and Comfort, and now I have my own Scotty Hastings personalized pick. And yeah, I basically just strap it to my thumb, and that's how I play the guitar. And if you ever ask me, I will tell you that I'm not a guitar player. Um, I try to be a vocalist, but and I just basically beat a guitar the way that a gorilla would if they were playing, and I'm able to form chords though, which actually helps me compared to a gorilla. So, but yeah, that's really all it is. Just kind of straps that you can actually. These are actually available now. So boom.
They just came out, and I think what I was hoping that this group, the takeaway from that is, and I know Drew, you and I were talking about properly holding a guitar, using a pick or not using a pick. Um, Let me just ask Scotty and Jesse, when you guys approach playing guitar, um, is there something that must you have to have? It has to be a certain way, or do you just kind of roll with it? However you feel like playing and pick up a different guitar. You may use picks or you use your finger. Is there a must that you have to have, or is that just something you toss out the window? I'll just play whatever I want.
So the question was like just the setup of the guitar. Like, does something need to be there? I mean, you get familiar with your own instrument, like, but
Does it need to be in tune?
yeah, yeah,
No,
close
sometimes
to
it
it.
makes it better if it's not.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just twist it a couple times and see what sound you get. Who knows?
I like my guitar, so I actually tuned down a full step.
Oh, I tuned down half.
So
Nice.
like it fits my voice really well, and I like so yeah, putting capos like
do you typically play with a cape? But I know Scotty's going to answer that one. But I don't think I've ever asked you that, Jesse. Do you typically play with a capo all the time, or drop a whole step?
there are a couple songs that I use the full step down. Like I actually used to tune a full step and a half, but like it's hard to stay in tune that way. Um, it just fits my voice a lot better. But I, yeah, so I like it a full step down. But
Got it. Got it.
I'll tell you, I
still
use
use
the
the capo.
shit out of a capo. Absolutely. I'll
Yeah,
throw that damn capo on all the time. Hell yeah. Absolutely. I'll ride a bike with training wheels. I ain't scared.